Thank you for joining us, Deb. We are going to officially start the April 23rd meeting of the Lafayette Redevelopment Commission. It is about 11:05 as we start this meeting. Welcome everyone who's here, including guests and the commissioners who are present. We appreciate everyone being here. Today, as we start, we realize that we're trying to conduct this meeting using all of the technology that's available at our fingertips. So there may be a few glitches here and there. Let's try to exhibit some patience and understanding as we keep going. The meeting is being recorded, as I understand, so to be there for future reference. For the commissioners specifically, if something within the meeting context is going too fast and you need to just slow us down, make sure that you have the opportunity to ask a question or make a comment, just go ahead and politely interrupt. And let's make sure that we get your thoughts heard and that your voice is shared as it needs to be regarding any topic. I want to also remind everyone that we'll be doing roll call votes. And so after every action item, we'll be doing roll call. Cindy Mary, are you still going to help us with that this time as well?
Yes, I can do that.
Thank you so much, Cindy. I appreciate it. Jackie, any legal maneuvering we need to make sure to keep track of? Anything else?
No, other than the roll call voting, that was the only thing.
Okay. Fantastic. So we'll do the best we can over the next 40 to 50 minutes. We have several healthy topics that we need to discuss. My fellow commissioners will understand this. I'm keeping my questions to a minimum. Right. First order of business, there are minutes to approve from last month's meeting, minutes of March 26th. I would hope that everyone has had an opportunity to read those minutes and review them. If there are not any comments and or questions, we would look for a motion to approve those minutes.
So moved.
This is Shelley.
Thank you, Shelley. Was that Jim the first time?
Yes.
Thanks, Jim Terry. Okay. It's been moved and properly second. Any further questions? We'll go to the roll call vote.
Holman?
Yes.
Henriette?
Yes.
Is Dan Teeter on?
No.
No. Okay. TJ?
Yes.
Terry? Okay, minutes approved.
Thank you, Cindy. So having conducted that particular business item, we'll go on to new business. We have resolution LRC 2020-06, which we would amend our declaratory resolution. Dennis, anything you want to share about this particular activity?
Yes, we got another exciting downtown development project in the works. This is going to be another mixed-use project similar to Pullman Station that we supported. This will be about 91 apartments, 2,000 square feet, retail space, and some interior parking. But I'm going to turn it over to Shelby Bowen with Rebar Development, who's on the line with us as well, to provide us more details of the project. And then I'll turn it over to Colin Cochran with our bond counsel to explain the resolution and the steps involved and how we're considering to support the project. So Shelby, I'll turn it over to you to give us a little bit of detail on the project.
Good morning. Thanks, Dennis. Mr. President, members of the commission, I appreciate everybody's time this morning. Certainly want to thank the mayor and Dennis and John and their team. We worked, as Dennis will tell you, I've been pursuing a project downtown probably for 4 or 5 years. And then this particular project, probably the last 18 months. And the mayor and Dennis have been instrumental in, first of all, getting the land under contract from Regions Bank. That was no easy task. It's owned by the corporate folks out of Alabama. And with the help of the mayor and Dennis, we were able to get the land under contract, which was really obviously instrumental in kind of setting this project forward. Rebar Development, we specialize in downtown development, mixed-use development projects. 100% of the projects that we've delivered and I've been involved in over the last 15 years have been public-private partnerships, and really value those relationships with the community. When we set out to plan this project, the mayor and Dennis were clear that they wanted to continue to raise the bar for the level of architecture and quality. And I think if you haven't had a chance to see the renderings, certainly that's reflected in the design and something we're extremely proud of. And then they also pushed to try to have the best in class amenities, which in this project includes a rooftop amenity space and deck and courtyard. That's just going to be fantastic, that overlooks downtown. And so for us, you know, it's really something we're extremely proud of. And then I'll finish with this. What was really kind of confirmation that this is a project that's going to have a tremendous impact on Lafayette and greater Tippecanoe County is we were awarded a redevelopment tax credit from the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And they are excited about the potential to deliver this project. And again, the mayor and his team were instrumental in working with the state, but they were eager to be a partner in this project, provided that you all agree it's a good investment. So I appreciate your consideration and certainly want to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Shelby. Mr. Bowen. Dennis, did you want Deb to follow him, or you want us to do questions right now?
If you have any questions of Shelby, you can ask those now. Otherwise, we'll turn it over to Colin Cochran, our bond counsel for the project, and he can walk you through the resolution and the next steps.
Commissioners, do you have questions?
Nope.
Thank you. Okay, let's talk about the plan.
Yeah, Colin, you want to walk us through the resolution and the process here, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is Colin Cochran from Denton's Bingham Greenbaum, and we're serving as bond counsel for this transaction. Happy to walk through this resolution, which really is a pretty straightforward one, and one that I think the commissioners are going to be familiar with, and the process to amend the consolidated plan. It's come before you most recently, I think, with the Nova Tower project. But this resolution really is the first step in a series of steps to amend that consolidated plan for the Creasy Central Economic Development Area to include the project that Shelby's outlined. And one thing I'd note is, although this resolution is only contemplating the amendment to just the plan, the applicable statutes really require that you go through the same steps and public approvals if you were actually establishing a new economic development area or amending an area. And so this is the first one of those steps, and if approved today by this commission, approving the declaratory resolution, it would next then go to the Tippecanoe County Area Plan Commission, where they would need to give its approval in written order. It would then move on to the City Council for its approval, and then wind up back here at the RDC, where the RDC would conduct both a public hearing, allowing individuals to give their views towards the project, and if so desired, the RDC would then adopt its confirmatory resolution that kind of closes the loop, so to speak, in terms of amending the plan. So that's probably the high-level overview of what this resolution does, really, once again, just kind of being the first step in amending the plan for the consolidated area, and really what the next steps are going to be. So maybe I'll stop there and just ask if there's any questions regarding just the amendment of the plan.
Thank you, Colin.
And then I guess the only other thing I would add, and I don't know if there's individuals from Baker Tilly on the line serving as the municipal advisor for this project, but in conjunction with amending the plan, there will also be a series of steps to approve the financing for this project. The financing will be bonds issued by the city's Economic Development Commission, and then these bonds are going to be supported by the TIF revenues generated in the consolidated area. So the other action, I guess one thing to say is that'll take an approval by the Economic Development Commission. The City Council will also both introduce and adopt a bond ordinance, and at the same time that this project would come back to the RDC to sort of close the loop on amending the plan, the RDC would also adopt a TIF pledge resolution, pledging the TIF revenues generated in the consolidated area towards this project. And I know the bonds right now are currently scheduled, or we're planning to price and sell in the open market sometime in late July or early August. And certainly, like I said, if there's any more detailed questions of the financing and the individuals from Baker Tilly are on the line, they can certainly answer.
Okay. Thanks, Colin. I have a general question.
We do have our financial advisors on the line, Greg Balsano and Jason Semler from Baker Tilly.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. I have a general question. I think from some of the background information Dennis shared with us, this was an $18 million project. Does that mean we're issuing $18 million in bonds, or we're issuing, the quote-unquote Lafayette Redevelopment Commission and or any other city entity? Are we issuing the entire $18 million, or are we issuing a portion of that?
No, the $18 million is the overall project cost. We are only doing a portion of that based on the tax increment generated from the project only. So it's a much smaller portion of it. As Shelby said, there are other financing involved in the project. There's private financing. There's also state tax credits. But our TIF funds and this TIF bond would be part of the overall capital stack and financing for the project.
Okay, thanks.
And this is Colin. Oh,
yes.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine, Colin.
Well, I was going to say, if you for this amending declaratory resolution, the project that we're adding is actually number 13 in Exhibit A under private improvements and investments, and in there it lists that the cost of the project is estimated over $17 million, but it's to be funded by the commission at an estimated amount of $4.5 million. Although I think if I were to ask Ray or Jason, that number, as typical, is kind of a not to exceed amount that's probably going to be larger than the actual bond issuance.
Yeah, this is Jason.
Okay.
That's correct.
Okay.
4.5 million is the maximum amount.
Sure, the 4.5 as the max. So thanks for that clarification and that additional information. And so then my other question may be to Jason. So theoretically, do we have some bonds that are rolling off as we bring this new bond on?
You do have bonds that are rolling off as this bond comes on, but we're going to be structuring it based upon the anticipated revenue that is from this development. And the developer and the city also are going to agree to a minimum taxpayer payment, so that if for some reason assessment or taxes come in lower than what we're anticipating, the developer will pay that shortfall. The bonds and the payment amount and the bond size will be based upon that agreed upon minimum payment.
Can everybody hear him, or does he have a bad connection, or is it me?
It's a little bit of a bad connection, Don, I think.
I'm sorry. Is it better? Can you hear me? Okay.
It's just breaking up, Jason. But I think you essentially said that with the anticipated revenue from the new project, we're only going to issue bonds that will be paid for with that anticipated revenue. That we're not creating additional debt, and the way the bonds will be structured will be structured in such a way that there isn't money coming from somewhere else or an increased tax in terms of the TIF. Is that correct, Jason?
That's correct.
Okay. All right. No, is that better? Okay, maybe that wasn't done. All right. Well, any other questions from the commission? Dennis or Mr. Mayor, any comments?
Just real quick, Josh, thank you. We're very excited about this project. As Shelby said, we've been working on it for probably almost 2 years to try to bring all the pieces of this puzzle together to bring a very high quality development to downtown to utilize an underutilized parcel of ground in our community in conjunction with our downtown studies that we've done of available places and our priorities for creating new opportunities downtown. So we're excited about this. We're very excited about the design. If you have not looked at that, as Shelby indicated, take a look at the design. It's very, very unique. It's going to be one of our premier downtown developments. I also want to thank Shelby and his team. They've been very transparent with us, trying to make all this work out. I appreciate them going back to the state, getting them involved. So they're putting money into this project also. So it really is a partnership, and I think it's going to bode well for all of us. And as you indicated, but just to clarify, this bond will be issued off the anticipated revenue that this new investment will generate. And if there is a shortfall of that revenue to make the payment, then Shelby and his team is responsible for coming up with those funds to make that payment. So we're protected that way on our investment, that it's just the increment generated off this new investment that they're investing in also. So we're excited to get this first step underway.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments by commissioners or questions? If not, the chair would entertain a motion.
I have a question. So on the parking, is that public parking, or is that just for the apartments, or those spaces? Who do they belong to?
So what we're going to try to do here, based on my experience in other projects, typical residential projects that are downtown, what I've seen in other communities where I scratch my head is, during the day, during the week, when the residents are gone, you have empty spaces, and traditionally those spaces have been reserved for the residents. But you go and you go, gosh, half this thing is empty, and they're reserved, but they're empty half the time. And so here, Dennis and I talked about trying to maximize the parking situation. So we're doing effectively Monday, half the spaces, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 will be public. And that's with the assumption that most of the folks that live there are gone. And that way those spaces can be utilized for folks that are working or visiting nearby.
So do you monitor that? Does the city monitor that? Who's in charge of the parking?
We'll monitor it, because what will occur is if it becomes an issue for the folks that live there, we'll continue to communicate that with the city, and then we'll have a separate agreement, a set of declarations that kind of put in place a more formal structure for A, who's monitoring, and then B, what if things don't work as well as we had hoped. So there will be some structure around that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions from the commissioners? Thank you. Hearing none, we still would entertain a motion to approve this particular resolution, if there is one.
I move we approve resolution LRC 2020-06.
Thank you. That was Don Teeter, right?
Yes.
Thanks, Don. So second?
Shelley will second.
Thank you, Shelley. I heard. So we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any additional comments or questions? Great. Cindy, if you would do the roll call, please.
Holman?
Yes?
Henriette?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Dean? Terry?
Yes.
LRC 2020-06 passes 5-0.
Thank you, Cindy.
Thank you.
So we appreciate you being with us, Shelby and Colin and Baker and Tilly folks, Jason. You guys are going to hang around. You're welcome to do so. If you are going to depart, we understand.
Thank you.
We'll continue. Yes, you're
Thanks,
welcome.
everyone.
We'll continue with the business of the commission and go to the topic of American Structure Report. We have a very detailed AIA contract related to the police station and the parking garage that's a part of that project. Dennis, you want to kick us off again?
Sure. As you know, we've been talking about this very important project for the city of Lafayette, which would be a new police station and parking garage for the city. And we have gone through our architectural engineering services. We took 7 proposals and interviewed 3 different firms, and we're making a recommendation for American Structure Point. We have Deb Coombs on the line with Core Planning Strategies that helps us through this process, and we also have 2 folks from American Structure Point as well, Mike Hubengartner and Cash Canfield. And I'll turn it over to Mike just to say a few words about American Structure Point and the contract.
Thank you, Dennis. As you mentioned, my name is Mike Hubengartner, and I am with American Structure Point. I will serve as the project manager for the design team throughout the duration of this project, just as I have for Loeb Stadium, which is currently under construction in Lafayette. I'm a registered architect and have been in the profession for 40 years, the last 28 and a half with American Structure Point. And we will be leading the design effort for this new municipal building in downtown Lafayette. Cash Canfield, who is also on the line, he will be the executive in charge of this project for American Structure Point. We are an architecture and engineering company founded in 1966 with its main design center headquartered in Indianapolis. We've established another 14 design centers across the United States in strategic market locations. We practice in 13 disciplines and are fortunate to employ approximately 500 staff amongst those 13 disciplines. Pretty much everything for the built environment except mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. It's not often a city such as yours has the opportunity to place such a significant building in its downtown fabric. In response to this opportunity, we have assembled an exceptional and an intentional design team. American Structure Point will lead the architectural effort and will be the architect of record. We will also do the civil engineering and the structural engineering. On this team, we also have ADG. They are a police station design expert with over 350 facilities designed across the nation. We also have Tim Haas, a parking structure expert with distinct knowledge in ParkSmart and parking controls. MKSK is also on board. They're a local, highly respected landscape architect. And for the mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, we have Applied Engineering, also headquartered in Indianapolis. They are a trusted partner, and we've done over 100 projects together with Applied Engineering. The contract before you represents the design and construction administration effort required from the team above to assist the city of Lafayette in bringing the new municipal building to fruition in downtown Lafayette. We appreciate the trust you have in our team and are grateful for this tremendous opportunity in downtown Lafayette. Do you have any questions?
Thank you, Mike. Are there any questions related to the background information that's been shared with us regarding the firm and their qualifications and their past work experience? Okay. Dennis, anyone else to speak from one of the companies? We just need to keep going and see if the mayor wants to say something.
I don't have any other comments, so I'll turn it over to the mayor for his comments.
Sure.
Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Josh. Just quickly, this is an incredibly important project to our community. We've been talking about this for several years. The police department is desperately in need of a new modern facility, new modern community dispatch center, community rooms, everything to take us into the modern era of the police work and really looking, 40, 50 years down the road. We're in 2 different locations now, and we are the police department is definitely out of space and in need of this new facility. As you heard, we went through a very extensive process of choosing our team with Structure Point and the group that they have assembled. We did interviews. The police department was involved. Chief Patrick Flannelly, Deputy Chief Brad Bishop. There were other studies that were done even prior to this process to help give us analysis information to make decisions from. And we worked very hard to put this contract together with just the right team to do this police station, along with a parking garage that has police parking, some city hall parking, and then public parking for events at the Long Center, Lafayette Theater, other downtown things that where we definitely need more parking. So we're very excited about what this means, not just for the downtown, but for the entire community, with the police department having a state-of-the-art facility to work out of. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Anyone have questions? I have a couple. Okay, so Dennis, I'm confused just a bit. I understand this document for the architect. Last month, as a part of our minutes and putting the activity, remember we have those proposals from construction managers?
Yes.
So I think I'm a little confused about the order of things. Just help me out with that, from the sense of, we're talking about entering into a contract with the architect. The last month we received proposals to consider just the construction manager, still not the actual quote unquote building and the cost of the building, but it seems that we had a price associated with the things last month. Am I mistaken? And I'm okay with being wrong.
No, that's okay, Josh. I'm going to I think Deb Kuntz from Core Planning Strategies is on our line as well too. I'm going to turn it over to her to re-explain to us the process and where we are in the process. Are you there, Deb?
Okay.
I am, thank you. So just for clarity, there has been an intentional selection process for the architect and engineer, and a separate selection process for the construction manager. And so previous to last month, you authorized the release of the RFP for the architect and engineer, and now we are here today asking for the approval of their contract. We are so that would close the RFP process and the award for the architect engineer. So that's one contract that is required. Then the second part of this is the construction manager as constructor. And we are in the process right now of the RFP process for the what's called the CMC, or the construction manager as constructor. And we received 4 proposals. We are targeting a in-person interview with them on May the 11th. And then if all goes well, then in your May meeting, we will bring a recommendation for the construction manager as constructor with a final fee amount for them as well. So there's actually you'll need 2 parties there. You'll need the designer and you need the construction manager as constructor. So there'll be 2 contracts. One is brought to you this month, and then the second will be brought to you the next month. And then just for clarity, just so there's no confusion, next month. And so my contract takes us through next month as well in terms of the selection. And if the city would like me to continue, then there may be a consideration for my contract to continue in next month as well, just for clarity.
Thanks, Deb. I appreciate that and understand that. We'll ask you one minor question. So when we do the construction constructor, okay, I know what I'm saying, but
yeah,
I'm getting
call it CMC.
Yeah. When we do the CMC contract, we also will get a better idea of the real cost for the building, right? The price. They'll bring that with them.
Yeah. So great question. So the initial contract with the CMC is a contract for them to go under contract for just the pre-construction work. So it'll actually be a smaller contract that you approve initially. And then over the next 6 to 9 months, they will bring back over during those pre-construction phase, they will bring back the price of the building. And I think that's the piece you're looking for, is what is it really going to cost? And so we need the architect, we need the architect to start designing, and then the CMC will price it, and they will do that over the coming months. And we can bring those updates to the commission as that becomes available. But next month for the CMC, you would be selecting a individual company, and you would only be asked to approve their pre-construction services.
Thank you. That's helpful again to me. And y'all, I just wanted to understand, I apologize. Thank everyone's patience.
Hey, Josh.
Yeah.
If I could add to that just a little bit, because it's a very good question. The numbers that you've heard here may be thrown around just initially. As you remember, we did do a analysis before this, just to get us some idea of what the ballpark might be, to make sure that we could even do this, how many square feet the police department would probably need in general terms, what that square foot might look like as just compared to what's currently construction of that type of facility is costing. So we got that general idea of what we might need and what it might cost to make sure we should even take these next steps, right? To look at this even more seriously. And with that, we were comfortable. So, but with that, nothing was designed. So American Structure Point, just now, you contract, not one square foot of the building is actually designed yet. I mean, they're just going to start on that process, which will take about 9 months just of drawings to get everything done. Just to get it designed will probably take 9 months. So I hope maybe that clears up a little bit. That first number you started kind of to hear was based off an analysis study to make sure we could even move forward with this at all.
Yes, that's helpful as well, Tom. Thank you.
And Mayor and Josh, will just interject as well too, that we're putting together a very large and experienced team here for this project. So not only will we have American Structure Point and the CMC will come on board, but we already have Baker Tilly, our financial advisors, are on board with the project, and then Bose McKinney, which will be the bond counsel for the project as well too. So, and then we have our internal team here at the city. So, and plus the Redevelopment Commission. So we've got a large team that we're assembling for this project, and each has a particular expertise and particular part of the project as it moves forward.
I have a question. Sorry to interrupt. So Deb Kuntz, who does she work for? I'm sure she's told us. I don't know. I forgot. Whatever.
Yeah. So I own Core Planning Strategies, and we are an owner's rep project management company. And we've been hired by the city to lead your RFP process. And since this is the first time that you've done a CMC project, we are leading the architect, engineer, and the CMC selection process. And so then many times we continue on if you'd like us to. And that's what we're in conversation with the city right now on.
I'm sorry, what company do you work for?
Core Planning Strategies.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One other thing, Josh, real quick, into the whole board that might be helpful. A CMC is a construction manager constructor, as Deb said, and what that means is, maybe you're not familiar, we haven't talked about it for a while. There was a state law that was passed a few years ago that allows this new methodology that we're using to follow certain legal steps, and that allows somebody to be the construction manager, but to also self-perform 20% of the work themselves, so they can perform a certain percentage of the work and still be the construction managers. We've had people, like I said, 4 people that have applied. Some of them have teamed up. 2 companies teamed up together, because you can do the construction management and construct 20% of the project from within your company. So we've never done one of these before, but there is real value to it for us. And we have put the team together because this will be far and away the most complicated project that we we have done. That police station is going to be a very sophisticated building, and then tying that into a parking garage, our public parking, our city employee parking, specialized parking and enclosed for police vehicles, SWAT vehicles, things like that. This is far and away one of the most complicated project we have undertaken.
Thanks again, Tony, and thanks, Dennis, for your clarifications as well. So one final question to actually Jackie, and probably Dennis, either one. So we, the Redevelopment Commission, are fully responsible for this AIA contract? It's not going to go back to the building work or anywhere else? It's just us?
Can you repeat that question again?
I'm sorry. I'm asking for we, the Redevelopment Commission, we become solely responsible for this AIA contract. It's not going to go to the Board of Works or any other organization within the city. Obviously, Dennis is going to execute it in terms of as an administrator for the contract and representative. But I'm just saying it's not going anywhere past us. We approve it, it's done.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to be sure. Any other questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, another general question. So under this land, is there any massive sewer lines or tased rivers or those types of things? Are those things, has that all been moved, or is there anything like that we're aware of at this point that's underneath this?
Yes, we've already studied all that with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert. We're actually in the process of moving. We've put the contract out for the movement of the Pearl River, not only for this project, Pearl River Sewer, but we are moving it so we can open up for a development opportunity the parking lot off Main Street that sits across from the Lafayette Brewing Company there. So we have been working for the past year or so on a new design of the Pearl River being moved to vacate that parking lot, vacate it out of the parking lot in the area where we need to build that and to reroute that. That has went out for bid. The bids have been, they have come back. I don't think we've awarded that yet, but we will be here soon. Two companies bid on that, Bowen Engineering and Atlas Excavating. So yes, that has already been studied for the past year, all mapped out, all where all the utilities are, all the underground stuff, and where we are going to move the Pearl River Sewer.
So everyone's comfortable with that. Thank you. That was just a general question I had. Appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep.
That's fine, Don, thanks. We would entertain a motion for the approval of the AIA contract with American Structure Point.
So moved.
Jim?
Second.
Yes.
Don Teeter.
Thanks, Don and Jim. Michelle, you okay? You caught that, right? Okay, I'm going to presume she did.
Yes, I did. Thank you.
Sure. So any further questions or comments before we take the vote? Cindy, would you call the roll?
Sure. Holman,
Yes?
Henriette,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Dean,
Yes.
Harry.
Yes.
Contract approved 5-0.
Thank you, Cindy, and thanks everyone for your input and sharing of information and responsiveness to the questions that we have for that activity. We look forward to all the work that it brings to you guys on that side of the table.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we're going to continue on with the agenda. We go to an activity that we have with the Tippecanoe Arts Federation. I think we have a contract that we'd like to approve with them. And so, Dennis, additional background?
Sure. As you know, we just finished up a comprehensive plan with the Wabash Avenue neighborhood and very excited about that, and contemplates a lot of different things to improve that neighborhood. And through the efforts of Margie Deverall here and on our staff here, she was able to secure a grant through the state for a particular project that will involve public art, but also test some ideas for traffic calming and other transportation improvements. So this contract is with the Tiffany Arts Federation to carry out this particular project and work with the neighborhood on these particular things that would look at, again, improving some traffic situations and intersections in the Wabash neighborhood. So I know Margie is on the line, and also Tisha is on the line as well too. So I'll turn it over to Tisha if you have any comments, and tell us a little bit about TAP and what you're going to be doing with this project.
Sure. Thanks, Dennis. So through this grant, we were given the opportunity to apply for tactical urbanism. After some research, we proposed that the funding would be directed towards 3 intersections along Wabash Avenue, including Wabash and Green, Williams, and Ellsworth. So this will include the 4 sides of each of those intersections and help to address one of the critical concerns that was identified within the Boldly Wabash study, which intended to make it more pedestrian friendly and slow the traffic, as there does tend to be a high rate of speed on that street, particularly with the large semis going to and from Cargill.
Thanks, Tisha. Marjorie, are you sharing anything today?
I don't have anything to add to that.
Thank you, Marjorie. Commissioners, do you have any questions about the project or the contract? Help me to understand just one minor thing. Under contract page 1, compensation, I am presuming that the 10% amount really will equal an escrow until the project is completely done?
That's correct, Josh.
Okay, that's fine. That's what the language sounded like. I just wanted to be sure.
Sure.
The total project is 15,000.
Total is 15,000, correct.
Yeah.
Thank you.
10,000 is from the grant, and then 5,000 is from the commission.
Any other questions from the commissioners? Is there a motion to approve this contract?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, Don, were you the motion? I wasn't sure.
Don Teeter.
Okay, thank you, Don. I think Jim was the second. Okay, any further questions? Cindy, would you please call the roll?
Holman,
Yes?
Henriette,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Beam,
Yes.
Terry.
Yes.
Okay, contract between the City of Lafayette and the Tiffany Arts Association passes 5-0.
Thank you, Cindy. So thanks again, everyone. Thanks, Tisha, for being with us. And of course, you're welcome to continue to stay with us. But if you have other things you need to take care of, we understand. Marjorie, the same thing for you. So I believe that the next item of business is a public offering of property request, a proposal or for proposal. It has to do with South 18th Street, little quarter right down here. That's been quite a bit of work already going on with that quarter. So Dennis, where do you start with this?
Sure, Josh, thank you. If you may remember, this project goes back to the late 1990s with previous administration that bought some property on South 8th Street, which is east of 7th Street, west of 9th Street, and then south of South Street. And at that time, it was some blighted properties that was really having a detrimental effect on the surrounding Ellsworth Romig neighborhood. So those purchases were those properties were purchased by the City of Lafayette at that time, and they were cleared. Since that time, there have been several attempts to bring in developers and other folks on what to do with the property, and particularly some meetings with the neighborhood to get their input on it and such. So over time, things have not, because of the economy and other things, have not worked out and such. So but we kind of feel like we're in a good time now to put this out here for development and such. So this is a legal process that we have to do since the commission technically owns the property. So we have to put it out there as a public offering at the average of 2 appraisals, which is $180,000 for this property, and then entertain proposals for its development. We've put some requirements on that. We'd like to see a variety of uses in the area, but particularly around housing, some owner occupied, and some rental as well too. So the process here today is for us to consider the approval of this public offering, and then proposals would be due at our May meeting, and we would look at and entertain those proposals at that time. If we do not get any proposals at the May meeting, then there's a 30-day process where we have to wait, and then after that 30 days, we are then the restrictions are different, and we're more free to negotiate with particular interested parties. So again, we feel like we're in a good position now to put this out there, and even if we don't get proposals for the property, then the next steps, again, we are in a position that we can freely negotiate with interested parties.
Thank you, Dennis. Comments and/or questions by the commissioners? Dennis, there was no one else who needed to speak to this, correct?
Josh, I'd just make a brief comment. As Dennis put a lot of time and work into this, and we appreciate it, as you know, from being right across the street there at the library. We've got the sewer work done. We've made all the connections that we need to make and move things around a little bit, make development of that area more feasible. I hope maybe some of you have been able to notice that we were able to get rid of the village pantry and put in some new sewer works there that actually looks very nice. If you haven't had a chance to drive by the corner of 9th and South, that's coming along very well. And so, as Dennis said, we think from an infrastructure standpoint and some other things that are happening with downtown, this is a good time to put that out.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I apologize for not giving you an opportunity to speak. If there are no further questions, we consider a motion for the public offering, approval of this public offering.
Yeah, I drive by that facility on the corner of 9th and South Street every day. That's such an improvement. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you, Mayor.
Yeah. Thank you, Don. Appreciate the kind words.
Motion.
Anyone else? Go ahead, Jim.
I was just going to make a motion to approve.
Nope, that's great. Is there a second?
Shelley, second.
Thank you, Shelley. Any further comments, questions? All in favor, please say, oh, I'm sorry. Cindy,
Okay.
would you call the roll?
All right, Holman,
Yes.
Marriott,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Karen.
Yes.
Request for proposals for the public offering passes 5-0.
Thank you. So great, we are moving along on the agenda. We are now with the director's report.
Sure, just a few things I'll update you on. We are still moving forward with all of our projects so far. Our Main Street project is still scheduled to start here in the 1st to 2nd week of May. The streetscape project for 3rd Street has been a little bit delayed. They're looking to start June 1st on that, but they're still going to be able to complete the project within the required time frame. We are also working on the South 4th Street striping project. We'll give bike lanes and facilities on that. We've held some stakeholder meetings with that and a public meeting as well, and that's moving forward. And then we also held our first ever virtual meeting for public meeting for the project for the 3rd and 4th Street, the two-way conversion project, and that went very well. We had several people from the public that actually interacted with us on that and sent us questions and things, and that project is progressing well as well. And then we're moving forward with the Jefferson neighborhood plan, which is similar to what we did with Wabash Avenue, and we're looking to hold some meetings with stakeholders in that neighborhood. And then lastly, we're going to be putting together a small business loan program to deal with the businesses that have been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. We're hoping to get that out and released by tomorrow, if not the latest on Monday, and that will be funded through community development block grants and for a targeted area in the city of Lafayette. So again, a lot of projects going on. The staff has been working very hard on all these things and others, and again, moving forward.
Thank you, Dennis. Any
Yes,
questions?
last question is Don Teeter. Are they almost finished with the deck off of the mark? Looks like they've been working hard on that. Is that near completion?
It is. I'll let the mayor comment on that.
Yes, thank you, Don. We have been able in the few months to resolve some of the issues that had been continuing or lingering with that project, and the panels that were on order from Switzerland for about 10 months, seems like, I think it was 10 months, finally came in. And so those panels installed as we speak. The corrective measures have all been taken with the wall and some of the other steel. We really are down now to just kind of finishing the railing, finishing some of the planters, making the tie-in to Columbia Street there, and a few other little things like that. And if you've been able to be down there, the view shed has been opened up. If you're on the promenade looking out towards the river, there's a view shed that's been created now. We did that in conjunction with the DNR. We were able to take down some silver maples and some other trees that are more invasive type trees and do some limb pruning and things like that. And the view is absolutely beautiful. So we certainly have our fingers crossed that by the end of May, that just about a month from now, that promenade will be finished.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Other comments, questions related to the director's report? Am I correct that the Jefferson project is just around the old historic Jefferson High School? Is that where we're talking?
Yes, the Jefferson neighborhood, it's bounded by 9th Street, Union, Erie, and Ferry Street.
Okay, all right, thank you. So we would accept the director's report as presented, and we'll continue on with the claims. Everyone's had an opportunity to review the claims for this month. Are there any questions that can be clarified? Hearing none, we entertain a motion to approve the claims.
Motion to accept the claims totaling $360,785.39.
Second.
Thank you, Jim. And who's the second? John, thank you. Okay, fantastic. Any additional questions? If not, we'll have the roll call.
Holman?
Yes.
Henriette?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Dean?
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Okay, approval of claims passes 5-0.
Thank you, Cindy.
Josh, I wanted to say before we go to public comment that I know we have several documents that need to be signed by everybody. I'm going to email them around to everybody for digital signatures. So, and I will put more instructions in the email, but we are going to be getting signatures by digital means.
Okay. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate knowing that I can cross off a question that I had. All right. So we're at the point for public comment. Is there any public comment for the meeting?
Just, we might just note the process for public comment. If you want me to do that, or you can do that, either way.
Are you suggesting that I read it here?
Yeah, we probably should.
Okay, I understand. I'll read it quietly. So, in accordance with the Governor Slocum's Executive Order 20-09, regarding COVID-19 public health emergency, Redevelopment Commission meetings are being held as video conference or teleconference meetings. Public comments from citizens who wish to address items on the agenda will be accepted via email to web-ed@lafayette.in.gov no less than 24 hours in advance of the scheduled time of the meeting. Such materials will be distributed to the members of the commission. Virtual options for public attendance and participation will be noted on the agenda found at http://in.gov/agenda center. So, to the best of my knowledge as chair of the commission, there has not been any public comment received prior to the meeting.
That is correct. I did not receive any. But the public is also free to comment after the meeting using that same email address.
Okay, thank you, Dennis. Dennis, anything else to come before the commission before we adjourn?
I think we got it, Josh.
Well, thanks everyone for hanging in there and dealing with your technology and attending the meeting and taking care of the business of the greater Lafayette, Tippecanoe County area. Onward and forward. Is there a motion to adjourn? So moved. Thanks, Shelley. So I think, Jackie, we can put it. One. Oh, do you need a second, Jackie?